My name is Brian, and you're watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for joining me. This video is going to be about the Schrade SCAXE2. We'll take it out of the sheath here. All right, so this is the Schrade SCAXE2 Survival Hatchet. The features of this hatchet are the overall length is 11.8 inches, which is about 30 centimeters. The handle length is 5.2 inches. And I believe they're talking about just this part right here is the handle length, and that's 13.2 centimeters. The blade is 3.8 inches, which is 9.6 centimeters. And altogether this thing weighs about 1.38 pounds. It features a titanium nitride coated actually head. Of the steel is 3CR13 stainless steel. It has a hammer pommel, and the handle itself, the shaft, is glass fiber filled. It's got a TPR grip. Another feature, one of the reasons they call this a survival hatchet is in the handle. Below the handle there is what they call an extra large ferro rod, and you can see that it is pretty good size, and it's got some rubber O-rings which seal it in, and we'll talk about that in a little more detail in just a minute. But it just pops in there and goes in pretty well. If you are subscribers or if you watch Prepared Mind 101 channel, Chris actually on that channel had an issue with these axes earlier this year in the winter time. He left a couple outside and was using them to do a review, and they broke. The handles actually broke about right here, just snapped clean off. So there was obviously a problem with the functioning of the handle material in cold weather. To Schrade's credit, they went back to the drawing board and they reinforced this handle with fiberglass. They sent the first of the improved model to Chris at Prepared Mind 101 for him to review on his channel. He actually left it in the freezer all night, put it on some blocks, and stepped up on it and stood on it and put his weight on it. And so I'd say that's a good test that they've done a pretty good job of taking care of the problem here. So let's talk about this for a minute then, with the assumption that the handle is okay now. First of all, you may notice this is one of the newer breed of hatchets. It's got a synthetic handle. It is non-replaceable. So a lot of traditionalists and purists are not going to like this. And I'm kind of a purist too. I've got a Wetterlings that I really like, but I'd urge you to give this thing a fair trial, which is what we're going to do today. A couple of things I do like about it. First of all, it just feels really, really good in your hand. This grip's just got slight finger ridges, but the ergonomics of this thing are just very good. It feels great. It's balanced very well. I like the blade shape. It's got a pretty good sized cutting edge, like 3.8 inches, I believe it is. Yeah, 3.8, almost 4-inch cutting head, so it's a big cutting head. The angle is pretty good for chopping. We're going to look at that. I like the fact that it has a hammer pole that you can hammer with. In a traditional wood handle axe, it's not really a good idea to do that because you could take a chance on spreading the eye out as you put force this way. The other thing that I kind of like about it is that, and usually I don't like coatings on blade. This is titanium nitride coating, so it should help reduce the friction. If you look at the blade angle, it's pretty wide. It should be pretty good for splitting. It's got a nice bevel here, and then it comes out a lot wider than some of the thinner, more one-piece type lightweight hatchets that you can get. And then the other thing I really like is there's a ferro rod in the handle. So we're going to check all this out. Just want to give you a brief overview. And the other thing that maybe or may not be too groovy, by the way, is the sheath. This is a really different looking sheath. So the way this works is you slide the head of the hatchet inside here. It folds over and snaps. It's got a little belt loop on back. I never carry a hatchet on my belt, so it really doesn't matter to me. But it's also got some grommets here. You can lashing points. It does what it's supposed to do. It protects the blade. You know, who knows how long this will last. I'm more of a traditionalist. I would probably like a leather sheath, but honestly, it kind of fits the hatchet, to be honest with you. So we can talk about it all day. We can look at it. We can debate whether the synthetic handle is good or bad, whether you like this or don't like that. But this thing's designed for chopping, splitting, and processing wood. So let's see how well it does that. Okay. Well, if you've seen some of my other videos, you may notice that, remember that I have found what is quite possibly the hardest piece of wood in North America, and that is a piece of this dead dogwood tree here, and you can just hear that thing is solid. So it has worked me pretty hard on several chopping test with hatchets and axes, so we're going to give this one a shot and see how well it works. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this ferro right out of the way because I don't like that. I'm not a big of a lanyard guy on the hatchet, so let's just see how well this thing chops. And this is some seriously hard wood. Wow. Okay. All right, well that was fun. Let's try something a little more reasonable. So it does okay. It's certainly not a razor sharp knife, but it is a hatchet. Okay. Okay, so sometimes when you're going to split something in the woods, it's not going to stand up on itself. You're not going to have a nice chopping block. So I like to do sometimes just use a baton on a hatchet, just like you would on a knife. And this hatchet works especially good for that because of the hammer pommel here. If you need to split some firewood up, once you get it to that point, you can probably use inertia to split it the rest of the way. And if you can find another log to lay it on, you can just go ahead and okay, so let's check out the ferro rod. Now, if you know me, I don't like to use the blade. This will be my point of last resort for striking a ferro rod. Let's see if we can find something. We'll try the hammer pole first. Nope. We'll try the edge of the blade here now. On the back side, actually. Nope. Okay. Last resort. The edge of the blade. Don't like it. Works fine, but it's definitely not good for your blade. I can feel some roughness on that already, and it was really sharp. Okay, so just for kicks, I'm going to take out the world's most hated knife and make sure it's the ferro rod does okay. So the ferro rod's fine. Well, there you have it. That's the Schrade SCAXE2 Survival Hatchet. And as you saw, it did a pretty good job on chopping. It did not allow the hardest wood in the world to defeat it, and did a really good job on some normal wood. Pretty decent job on shaving, feather stick type making. And again, it's not a carving knife, it's a survival hatchet, but it did a pretty decent job. I think it did really well on making tent stakes and that kind of craft you can do. You can cut notches with it, you can sharpen sticks with it, you can do stuff like that. Splitting, did a great job on splitting in my opinion. I like the hammer pole. You can beat the heck out of this thing without any danger or fear of messing it up. I just want to point out, I'm sure if you've been watching any of my channels, you know how big an emphasis I always place on safety. And I know there's always going to be somebody who's going to say, how well does the thing throw? And you know, if you've seen any of my videos, you know my opinion on throwing bladed objects. That's not the point of this tool. I'm sure that Schrade does not warranty this tool against throwing. And I just don't really see any reason why anybody would need to do that. So we're not even going to cover that. With that being said, all in all, I think for the money, this is a really, really good little tool. It's lightweight. It's very well balanced. I mean, if you're swinging it and you accidentally let go of it, there's no telling what'll happen. You know, it could fly pretty. Who knows? But anyway, I digress. The bottom line, this is Schrade SCAXE2. Some people call it the SCAXE2 Survival Hatchet with the built-in ferro rod in the handle. Goes right in like that. And the sheath, again, probably my least favorite thing, but it actually is very functional. It just snaps in like that, snaps on, and it protects the blade, and protects your gear from the blade if you got it in your pack or whatever. So less than 1.5 pounds, by the way. So I just think it's a very compact, handy little tool to have. Toss it in your pack, toss it in your go bag, and you got a really good tool that you can do a lot with for under $50, well under $50. I will say that this kind of tends to maybe rattle just a little because if you're swinging and hitting it. Check out Chris with Prepared Mind 101 in his video, and what he did, he took some Tender Quick and just pretty much mashed it all around here and poked it down in there, and that was a really great idea. Probably do something like that. That just keeps it from rattling. I can hear it a little bit. It also gives you some tinder to start a fire with. The one drawback, in my opinion, if there is a negative, and I don't think there's much of a negative, based on what it is. You know, if you don't like composite tool handles, then that's a composite handled tools, and that's going to be a negative right off the bat for you. But if you're willing to try something new, that might not be. I think I would probably take a file maybe and really try to sharpen something here up so that you could not have to use your blade on the ferro rod. Of course, you probably, if you have another knife or even a sharp rock, you can strike a ferro rod with a piece of flint. I mean, a piece of quartz or rock or whatever. So, you know, you got other options other than typically than using the blade of your hatchet. Anyways, the Schrade SCAXE2 Survival Hatchet. If you're looking for a pretty cool little tool, lightweight tool, reasonably inexpensive to toss in your bag for emergencies if nothing else, I think this would be a great option for you. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to Survival on Purpose. Thanks for giving it the thumbs up if you like it. Tell your friends about it if you think they'll like it. You can check my Amazon store out below. It supports this channel. I really appreciate it. Thanks once again for all your help, all your support. Once again, my name is Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. See you next time.